I used to believe natural talent was this gift that some people are just born with, but I'm starting to realize a lot of that is a myth, blinded by a perspective that doesn't include the talent itself. I lasted a total of 10 minutes at the pump track just because there's no etiquette at pump tracks, where skate parks, people know not to be 2 feet behind each other, but in a pump track area, nobody blinks an eye. So I'm here at the Highland skate park. When I was younger, I totally thought natural talent was a thing and there was just gifted skateboarders, and that I just wasn't that type of person. And as I've gotten older, I've gained more perspective, and I actually don't think natural talent exists at all. I don't think there is any such thing as a naturally gifted skateboarder. So that's what we're going to dive into in today's video. So I am referring to skateboarders in this video, but this can also apply to like extraordinary skilled people like Tiger Woods or Mozart, anybody, Picasso, anybody that sort of is portrayed as a prodigy, essentially. When I think of naturally talented or gifted skateboarders, most people portray that as somebody that had very little training or no training at all and could just step on the board and just look amazing. And a lot of that is blinded by perception, because you don't see the prodigies being built, you just see them once they're already on the stage of being a prodigy. And my point that I'm getting at is that you're not seeing all the practice, all the hard work. I think it was Mozart, for example. He was composing songs at 12, but he had already started playing at 2, so he did have 10 years of experience before people even knew who this prodigy was. So before we dive into my perspective on natural talented and gifted skateboarders and everything like that, what about the opposite spectrum, right? Some people just say they possess no balance, no coordination, and they just can't skate. It's not in them. No matter what, they can't skate. Let's talk a little bit about that before we dive into the complex of naturally talent. With the exception of physical ability, like saying you don't have a leg or something like that, I think a lot of talentlessness comes from one, bad practice, someone just telling them how to do something and they tell them the wrong way, and then they try to go execute it and it's just discouraging for them. They just don't want to do it. And the other thing is that some people are just told that they can't do something. They're just told from a very young age that, you know, that's something that's not possible, whether it's a negative environment that they live in, or it could be genetics that they have. It could be so many dispositions, essentially, is what I'm saying. So those little things sort of push people into believing that they don't have the talent, so therefore they don't ever have the right mindset, the right attitude in order to practice. And practice is what you have to do in order to get good at anything. So the doors close before they even see an open door in order to understand the process, because the process and trying and failing and getting better is all it takes at the end of the day. Now, I do believe humans are born with innate abilities, and therefore those can definitely be an advantage in skateboarding and understanding the process. Like, for example, if your whole family comes from a line of sports and they're all athletic, chances are you are going to be better at progressing at skateboarding, therefore you're going to progress faster. Therefore someone might say, hey, you look like you're naturally talented, but I wouldn't say that's natural talent. Those are innate sort of body things that you are born with that are going to work to your advantage. Maybe you're tall, maybe you have a lot of power, maybe you're short. All these little things can play a role. I do think that style is something that is debatable, whether it is natural or it is something that you can learn and adapt and progress in. But when I think about this, I think about myself. That's the only way that I can do it, because I can't just put myself in other people's body. But for me, I used to have this T-Rex syndrome. I'd skate like this everywhere. And then I just didn't like it. My friends made fun of me. And then eventually I made a point to like stiffen or make a fist. Instead of doing this, I made a fist, and that kind of helped me. So the point that again, I started realizing the little things that I didn't like. And then over time, I stopped doing those things. And now I don't think I have really good style, but I think I'm at a place where it looks more fluid than it did in the beginning. So to me, identifying that makes me think, well, then yeah, you probably can learn style. You probably can progress and look better on the skateboard and yeah, teach style, I guess, in a way. But I don't know. I think this one's a little more arguable. As always, I want to know your comments down below. Is natural talent something that you believe in, or the other side of the coin, do you think that you can teach style? Oh my God. Jeez.
Right.
So we're talking about how to ollie over this fence back here, and we're saying how like ollieing to the side of it almost allows you to kind of like figure it out, although it's actually harder because you're probably going to have to ollie higher. Like ollieing over the fence would be easier, it's just scary. So working these things out when you're trying them is important. Like, oh my gosh, just ollieing to the side of it versus completely committing to going over, because it's definitely a commitment trick. Going down a hill, sideways, there's no horizon at this spot. So that was probably the best 360 that I'm gonna get out today. It's actually the only 360 I landed. I fell on a bunch of other ones, but the point that I'm getting at is that I'm not gonna be a perfectionist in this case. I'm just gonna walk away and take it. But that's normally how prodigies, or these ideas of how naturally talented skateboarders are bred, because they practice to perfection. The point that I'm getting at and that I'm trying to address right here in this section is that what I feel is when you say someone is naturally talented or that person just is gifted skater, it sort of neglects the process that they took to get to where they are now. This is like a bobsled spot. It's kind of like a track. It goes down, it's berm, drainage, but then you have this extra high berm right here you can like do some tricks on. Chris Cope did a trick on. He did board slide and then board slide down. We got, woo! It's really tough though because there's no flat bottom. Like you literally have to go straight into the quarter pipe and then try to make it out. And then there's a bunch of ice plant over here. This actually used to be clear. You used to be able to roll out this way, so you can't anymore. Let's try to get a couple clips on this really tough spot. Hyped on the board slide. It wasn't like anything super crazy, but something that I was thinking about when I landed it was that it was scary a little bit. And then I landed it. Michael's like, man, you made that look so easy. And I think that's like definitely something that I do quite a lot. Like I'll be watching people skate and they look so effortless, like Grant Taylor or someone, and you're just like, how are they like just like sleeping while they're doing a boneless 10 feet high, not knowing. But I think a lot of it is perception. Like you're seeing that and you're watching that. It actually reminds me of a conversation I was having with Kenton Russell earlier. He was telling me how him and Brandon Turner went to go film one day, and Brandon learned or landed every trick first try. But little did he know, Brandon went there and been trying all those tricks for like a month or something along those lines. I don't know all the background. We'll get more history, the context to that. But I guess the point that I'm trying to address here is that like sometimes on footage or how you see things isn't always exactly what's going on in their mind. Or even Nyjah, I'm going to use him as an example because he's like the guinea pig in the scenario. Seeing him in a contest just recently, starting to struggle more.
In conclusion, thoughts, natural talent. I don't think natural talent exists in skateboarders. I think there's innate abilities, and those innate abilities will allow you to be stronger in the beginning. Maybe you get more pop. They'll allow you to practice more and more determined, but ultimately everyone has to go through the same process in order to gain skill or to get better at anything. So if you enjoy this conversation, make sure you smash that like button, comment down below, add some opinions, add your perspective. See you next one. Subscribe if you're not ready. Mash.